What's up, everyone? Welcome to the January 26th edition of DraftKings Tournament Plays presented by PrizePicks. I'm your host, Adam Scherer. You can find me on Twitter at ShipMyMoneyDFS. And as a reminder, you get one free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum when you sign up and make a deposit at PrizePicks. Be sure to use the code Awesemo to receive a 100% first deposit bonus up to $100. We have a 10-game NBA slate tonight, a lot of moving parts. So your normal reminder, be sure to tune in to the deeper dive from 5 to 6 Eastern and live before lock from 6 to 7. But we do have a pretty good idea of how some things are going to look tonight. And so we can take an early look at 5 of the top tournament options on DraftKings. Starting at number 5, Mo Bamba, currently projected for about 1% ownership with an 8% chance of being in the optimal lineup. I do think that his ownership projection increases somewhat, assuming he plays. He is currently expected to play, but there's a decent gap in ownership projection versus optimal lineup percentage, and suggests he's most likely going to be a little bit underowned one way or the other. He's only center eligible, which does come with plenty of opportunity cost, but he's only $5,400. He's averaged about 1.1 DraftKings points per minute this season, and he's likely to play 28 minutes or so if he's able to go. He gives you a very high upside, and you're going to see more of the field go a little bit cheaper, going to guys like Steven Adams, going to guys like Rashawn Holmes. Those are good plays for sure. There's no doubt about it. But Bamba's not that much more expensive, and he does give you a very high ceiling. Those guys, don't have ceilings any higher than Bamba. So he looks like a very good option in tournaments. Number 4, Tyler Hero, currently projected for about 2% ownership with a 10% chance of being in the optimal lineup. He's expected to make his return to action for Miami tonight. The Heat are still without Kyle Lowry, so there are plenty of minutes available for Hero. He will have to contend with Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo for production, but Hero has about a 30% usage rate this year without Lowry on the floor. It's likely he gives you 33, 34 minutes. Overall, he's averaged 1.04 DraftKings points per minute. He's got a very high ceiling given his salary at $6,600 and his low ownership. Number 3, Hassan Whiteside, currently projected for about 7% ownership with a 12% chance of being in the optimal lineup. I don't totally understand the ownership projection here. Definitely something I'll be keeping an eye on, but as it stands right now, it seems like we're expecting the field basically to either go cheap at center with guys like Adams or Holmes that I mentioned before, or pay up for guys like Nikola Jokic. There's a chance that you're going to just sort of see a little bit more of a void in this mid range where Whiteside played 32 minutes last game. He's only averaged about 0.95 DraftKings points per minute in his 4 starts this year, but there's no real reason to think that he loses that much production compared to his season average when he starts, because it's not like he's a particularly high usage guy anyway. He's averaged 1.2 DraftKings points per minute overall this season. It's likely if you get 30 to 32 minutes from Whiteside at $6,600 that he ends up being a very, very strong option. Number 2, CJ McCollum, projected for 13% ownership, 15% chance of being in the optimal lineup. This is a back-to-back for Portland, so we need to keep an eye on his status just to make sure that they don't rest him. But assuming that they're not going to, he's back to playing 37, 38 minutes, just like you would expect from a healthy McCollum without Damian Lillard. So there's no real reason, as long as he's active, to think that he's not playing that many minutes. He's averaged about 1.1 DraftKings points per minute without Lillard on the floor. This is a slow paced or a pace down spot against Dallas. That's the only downside. Portland only has a 106 implied total, but a $7,300 price tag with point guard and shooting guard eligibility, there's a very high ceiling for McCollum. And coming in as the top tournament option as things stand right now, Kristaps Porzingis projected for about 13% ownership with a 17% chance of being in the optimal lineup. He's only $7,600 on DraftKings. He is also only power forward eligible, which does sort of limit what you can do with him. But at the same time, you didn't really want to play him at center anyway, because there's a lot of very good center options. Porzingis, in the games he's played with Doncic this year, has averaged 1.19 rather DraftKings points per minute. You're likely to get 30 to 32 minutes from him tonight against Portland. He is a very high upside option that just isn't getting that much ownership. So to recap the way things look right now, the top 5 tournament options on DraftKings: number 5, Mo Bamba; number 4, Tyler Hero; number 3, Hassan Whiteside; number 2, CJ McCollum; and number 1, Kristaps Porzingis.